Shah from LG Institute of Engineering and Technology from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. Today I am going to explain you about the DSP processor architecture and general DSP processor from the subject of digital signal processing from the unit of architecture of DSP processor and its applications. Now the first topic is Von Neumann architecture. There are basically two types of architecture. The first one is Von Neumann architecture and the second one is Howard architecture. So basically if we are saying that the Von Neumann architecture has the same memory for the data as well as for the instructions. And it has a single set of data or address buses between the CPU and the memory. So if we will draw in the Von Neumann architecture, it will look like this. In this, CPU will gives you the address or through this address bus, and it will fetching or applying the data by using this data bus. From the memory, the data will be fetched by using this CPU. So in this memory, we are using this common memory for the data as well as for the instruction. So this kind of architecture will consider as Von Neumann architecture, but in this Von Neumann architecture, the memory location for the data as well as for the instruction, it will remain same. So it will generating the bottleneck problem. So first of all, what is bottleneck problem? If you want to fetch the address or if you want to fetch the data, so for that a particular memory location is same, and for that we have to fetch at any instant of time, we have to fetch any one data only. So it will generating only data or it will generating the address from this memory location. So it will generating the bottleneck problem. So we have to remove this problem by using the another architecture. It is considered as Howard architecture. Now what is the basic parts of this Von Neumann architecture? Von Neumann architecture has basically 5 different parts. The first one is the CPU. CPU means considered as central processing unit. In this, all the data will be centrally processed over here. Then the second part is memory. In the memory location, data and instructions will be stored. Then the third one is buses. In this, we are using the address bus and data bus. Then the fourth part is ALU. In the ALU, arithmetic and logic unit will be used for the operation of arithmetic operations and logical operations. Fifth unit is input output data. So it will gives you the input output data from the CPU. Now if we defining the advantages of Von Neumann architecture, the first advantage is control unit retrieves the data and instruction in the same manner from one memory. So it will fetching the data from one memory only. So design and development of it will be simplified form, it will be cheaper and it is faster. Now the data from the input and output devices and from the memory are retrieved in the same manner. So it will be in the easy format. And the organization of memory is done by the programmer, which allows them to utilize the memory's whole capacity. So whole capacity will be utilized because in the whole memory location will storing the data as well as instructions. So it will utilize the whole memory capacity. Now there are some disadvantages of it. The first disadvantage of the Von Neumann architecture is parallel implementation of program is not allowed due to the sequential instruction processing. As I told you that we have used the single memory location for the data as well as for the instruction, so we can't fetch both the things parallelly. So parallel implementation of the program cannot be allowed. Then the next disadvantage is Von Neumann architecture has bottleneck problem, as I had explained you. And the third one is risk of instructions being rewritten due to the error in the program. So these are the disadvantages of the Von Neumann architecture. Now the next topic is Howard architecture. In the Von Neumann architecture, there are some disadvantages. It will be removed by using the Howard architecture. So in the Howard architecture, basically we are using the two different memory locations for the data as well as for instruction. So we can remove the bottleneck problem in this Howard architecture. So First point is separate memory locations for the data as well as for the instructions. Two sets of address data buses between CPU and memory. CPU can access instructions and data at the same time. It means it will gives you the parallel processing. So if we are drawing the block diagram of this Howard architecture, you can see that the data memory and the program memory will be different. So CPU will interfaces with the data memory and program memory parallelly, so we can fetch the data as well as address at the same time. So parallel processing can be done in this Howard architecture. So this will be considered as pipelining. In the pipelining, the instruction 1, 2, 3, 4 will be like this. Suppose if we are taking any one cycle, first of all, in any process of this architecture, the first process is we are fetching the data, then we will decoding the data, and at last we will executing the data, right? So first of all we will fetching the data, then we will decoding the data, and then we will executing the data. So for that there will be three different cycles for any one instruction. Now if we are taking the next instruction, for that also the three steps will be there, but for that three different other cycles will be used if there is not pipelining. But suppose if we are using this pipelining because of this parallel processing, so at the time of first instructions decoding, we can fetch the data for the second instruction. Likewise, we can do parallel processing because of this pipelining concept in the Howard architecture. Now the next topic is advantages of Howard architecture. Which advantages will be there of Howard architecture? The first advantage is separate memory areas for program instructions as well as data. There are two or more internal data buses which will allow you simultaneous access to both the instructions as well as data. And time for execution is low because we are doing the parallel processing, so time consumption will be reduced. Now the next topic is disadvantages of Howard architecture. As there are some advantages of Howard architecture, there are some disadvantages also. The first disadvantage is free data memory can't be used for the instruction and vice versa. Means a particular memory will be used for data and a particular memory will use for the instruction. So we can't use data memory for the instruction and instruction memory for the data. The production of a computer with two buses will be considered as more expensive and needs more time, and it will become more complex. So this disadvantage can be recovered by using the third type of architecture. The third type is, it is also considered as one kind of Howard architecture, but we had done some modification in this Howard architecture. So it will consider as the modified Howard architecture. In this we had included the cache memory. So basically if we will run the modified Howard architecture, in the CPU will had included the instruction cache. So in the cache memory, the data will be temporarily stored over here so that it will give you the faster response. So advantages of this modified Howard architectures are improved performance, and data can directly transfer between input-output memory without having to pass through the CPU's register. So directly it can transfer the data from the IOs to the memory without pass through this CPU. Now the next topic is block diagram of general DSP processor. The basically block diagram of this general DSP processor is based on the Howard architecture. So you can see that this one is DSP processor, this one is data memory, and that one is program memory. So basically we are using the Howard architecture in designing of this DSP processor. From this we had taken the input output. It is given to this IO controller. It will controlling the input output data. It is given to the data memory. Over here the data will store. Now as and when the data is required, it will be transferred through this data bus to this CPU. And when the address will be generated through this CPU, it will be given to this data memory address bus and it will given to the program memory address bus. So it will giving the address to this memory from which address we have to fetch the data. Now when the address and data is given to this CPU, The first of all, data memory and data address generator and program memory data address generator will generating the address for the data memory as well as for the program memory. Now it is given to the program sequencer. The function of the program sequencer is to sequencing the whole program. The data will be stored in the temporary memory. It is considered as instruction cache, and output of it is given to this blocks. In this block, the first block is data register. Now what is the basic use of data register? Basically data registers will be used to store the data, and as and when at the time of processing it will given to this processor. So first process is considered as multiplier. In this the data gets multiplied. Then the next block is ALU. ALU means arithmetic and logic unit. In the arithmetic operation we will doing the addition, subtraction, multiplication likewise, and in the logical operation we will doing ANDing, ORing likewise. The next block is the shifter. In the shifter we can shift the right or we can shift the data to the left. So for this we will using the barrel shifter. So basically if we are defining the multiplier and accumulator block, in this we are doing the addition, multiplication and accumulation. Accumulation means we are storing the data. Entire process will done in the single clock cycle. Now the next block is arithmetic and logic unit. In the arithmetic and logic unit will performing the arithmetic and logical operations. Large number of operations can be initialized using the single instruction in this block. Now the next block is data address generator. The basic function of this will be, it will keep track of the addresses of input data, coefficients stored in the data and program memory. Now the next block is barrel shifter. As I told you that in the shifter block we will using the special kind of shifter, it is considered as barrel shifter. Now what is the function of this barrel shifter? In the barrel shifter we will apply the n bit input word to this barrel shifter along with the how much we have to shift and direction of the shifting, means we have to shift right or we have to shift left. So for that we will apply the p bit shifter operator, means how many bits we have to shift. So we will shift in p bits along with the direction, means we have to shift right or we have to shift left. So this all the data is given to the barrel shifter, so it will gives you the shifted p bits output left or right side, and it will gives you the n bit output word which is shifted as our requirement. Now the types of registers in this particular block will be, first one is index register, the second one is modify register, and the third one is length and base register. And we had used the program sequencer. The function of program sequencer is to sequence out the programming of the whole process. And in the memory locations, there are basically two types of memory locations, data memory and the program memory. So basically data memory will use to store the data and program memory will use to store the instructions. So there are basically two types of memories. And the last one is input output controller. I/O controller will basically used for the controlling of the fetching of the input and output. In the next session, I will explain you about the fixed and floating point processor from this BSP processor. Thank you so much.